Coming up tonight at 7, you will see an exclusive News on 6 debate between 4 of the candidates who are vying for Senator Jim Inhofe's seat, who has said he will retire at the beginning of next year. The candidates had to meet several criteria to be invited to the debate. News on 6 political analyst Scott Mitchell is joining me live now to preview tonight. Good morning, Scott.
Good morning to you, Dave.
Hey, so tonight's debate will feature, just running it down for folks, former State Speaker of the House T.W. Shannon, former EPA Administrator Scott Pruitt, and former AG Scott Pruitt, State Senator Nathan Dahm, and Luke Holland, who has worked for Jim Inhofe. So Representative Markwayne Mullin, we want to tell folks, has declined the invitation. So Scott, with 13 Republicans running, 1 Democrat, 1 Independent, 1 Libertarian, how does one stand out in a race like this?
Hit home runs. You don't hit singles, you hit home runs. You got to be swinging for the fence. So often you'll strike out when you swing for the fences, but that's what somebody's got to do. When you look at the numbers that Shepard did for News 9, News on 6, I'm not really sure what Congressman Mullin had to say, but my guess is he's sitting on a pretty comfortable lead, he thinks, and there'd be no place to go but down if you show up.
Yeah, it was a statement, and I don't want to misquote it, but it was something like, I'm in Washington doing the work that Oklahomans elected me to do, something along those lines. Just to run it down for folks, so June election, June 28th, what does someone have to do to win the Republican nomination? Kendra Horn already has the Democratic nomination. Explain the runoff system, basically.
Well, you've got to get 50% plus 1. And that's what the situation is. And my guess would be that Congressman Mullin was saying exactly the truth, but he probably did. It was like comma, sitting comfortably on a lead. So I don't think that anybody believes that this is going to be anywhere but a runoff. And I think that's going to be between Congressman Mullin, former Speaker Shannon. And then when you get into a runoff situation, it's anybody's game. The others, I mean, the numbers, the data shows they're just not in the ball game. But they should be happy they're on the debate stage with T.W. Shannon and Congressman Mullin down the road. And
we've seen it many times where if you don't win the runoff, then the other candidate who you were going against can end up winning and kind of having that comeback. I'm interested to know, what do you expect each of the candidates, and especially the candidates tonight, the 4 who are participating in our debate, what do you expect each of them to hit on and focus on?
Well, there's 2 constituencies, okay? It's a Republican primary. Anybody that's looked at the color of this state for Republican Party, you know what color that is. It's bright, bright red, okay? So number 1, you've got different constituencies. You've got the old Reagan-Bush Republican channel out there, and then you've got MAGA. And it will be interesting to see. You'll see early on, maybe in the opening statements, you'll see these candidates can communicate to one of those 2 constituencies. Who's going to grab a hold of President Trump more than the others, who's going to be more, shall we say, bold about things like guns and China and President Biden. All of these things include, we may even hear about whether or not that Joe Biden's even the president. I would put, listen, get your popcorn tonight, okay?
Yeah, it's going to be right here again on News on 6 at 7 p.m. I wanted to ask about the economy specifically. Obviously, the national news, and here locally, we're talking about inflation. Gas prices are the talk of the economy right now. But, the taxes that Oklahoma is bringing in from this oil production are in the millions of dollars up year over year. We're reaping the rewards of these high oil prices. How do you frame that if you're an Oklahoma Senate candidate?
Well, you come out real hard and strong for the oil and gas industry, but I'll tell you where else we get money. We get tons of money from the federal government, just like the infrastructure bill. There's a fascinating situation, Dave. I mean, everybody in the delegation voted against the infrastructure bill, but that money is going to be spent here. Some people, it's like the little red hen. Hey, I'm not for this bill, but we'll take the money. That question might come up. I mean, should we send that money back? People say this has caused inflation. There are so many interesting angles to where this could go tonight. That's why I'm saying it's popcorn must viewing, because there is a lot of things the anchors can do to really drill down into what the issues are.
In terms of the lone Democrat who's running, former U.S. Congresswoman Kendra Horn, who has won an election recently as a Democrat in Oklahoma, what does she have to do, do you think, to make this competitive?
Well, she's going to have some fun tonight, and she'll be looking at whatever the gaffes are. That's where she's going to go. And frankly, she's an experienced, she's a former Congresswoman. She's going to be the nominee. The question is, will there be enough change in public sentiment in November to get her elected? It is very, very much uphill. She knows that. And unless there's some sort of change and the Democrats get their act together nationally, it's going to be hard for her to win.
Well, the live debate, Scott, tonight starts at 7 this evening on News on 6. Again, 4 candidates participating. You can watch that on our News on 6 app, on newson6.com. Scott Mitchell, thank you for joining us today.
Good to be here, Dave.